Hey, it's Laura with TrueWell, and today I'm going to show you my freestyle meal prep method, winter edition. So if you haven't heard of freestyle meal prep before, it's basically when you don't have time to put together a meal plan, so you go and grab just random seasonal produce, and in this case, winter produce, and prep it ahead of time so that you can just make meals on the fly throughout the week. So this is a really great way to start thinking in terms of more plant-forward meals, and this is how we get healthy anti-inflammatory meals on the table when we have just those like dumpster fire weeks and weekends where everything is just complete chaos. I don't know what it is about this year, but it's been really crazy this year. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, please hit that like button and let me know. And obviously this video is edited for time's sake. It's not a very long video, so stick around till the end and I'll tell you how you can get your free printable freestyle meal prep guide so you can have it for your dumpster fire week backup plan. Now let's get started. For this freestyle meal prep session, I chose winter produce, which you can find a list for in the freestyle meal prep guide. So I grabbed a pumpkin, spaghetti squash, butternut squash, purple cabbage, kale, and collard greens. And some of this produce is really best cooked right before eating, or it's sauteed to put into soups, but the squash always need to be cooked. So I started out with the spaghetti squash. These used to intimidate the heck out of me, but they're actually pretty cool. For this session, I cut the squash in half lengthwise and then cut strips, but I think it's actually easier to just roast the halves and then scrape the insides out from those larger pieces. I have also learned that even scraping the seeds out is much easier when they've been roasted first. Next, I started on the butternut squash and I cut the ends off and then cut it in half vertically. Then just lay each half on the pan face down. So I lay the pieces out evenly on a pan. I use a barbecue grill mat liner, which I've learned is amazing. Nothing sticks to it, and I'll link to it in the description. Then I started on the leeks. I peeled a few of the outside leaves, cut the end of the bulb off, then cut a slit down the center before chopping it. The dark green ends usually get pretty tough, so cut the white part and some of the lighter green part, and then put it on the pan to roast as well. My normal base seasoning is salt, pepper, and garlic powder, which you can add or wait until you make your dish, and then roast it at about 350 degrees Fahrenheit for around 25 to 30 minutes. For squash, it may take a bit longer to get it soft enough, so just keep an eye on it. While all those are cooking, I started cutting the greens. I started out with kale, and I knew that I just only wanted it for kale chips, and you would think that the bags of it already chopped up would be more convenient, but I found that it actually takes longer to pick out all the stems than to just buy a bunch of it and then just trim them off myself. And I do a sort of scraping motion with the knife to get the leaves off, but you can also fold it in half and do just one cut to get the stems out. Now, once all the leaves are torn in a bowl, you add oil and massage it to soften the fibers. Now, for kale chips, don't salt it until they're out. They shrink and can turn out way too salty. And then they just go on a pan. They go in the oven for about 20 minutes at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Next, I started on the collard greens. I wanted these to go in a soup, so I just washed them, trimmed them up the same way as the kale, and then you store them in a baggie in the fridge until you need them the night that you cook it. A method that I found useful is using a large 4-cup measuring cup to hold a baggie in place to put food in during meal prep. So if you don't have the baggie stands, then this works really well to do that. The mustard greens got trimmed the same way, and I wanted to saute them later in the week, so I just stored them in a baggie in the fridge as well. Then I started on the cabbage. Peel those tough and usually dirty outer leaves, then chop it into slices, then into smaller pieces. And I wanted to saute it later in the week, so again, it goes into a baggie as well to store in the fridge. Now, I also grabbed some pears as a last minute add-on. Those are not in the picture from before, but these can be peeled. But the skins are actually less tough than apples, so eating the skins is pretty yummy. Just make sure that you get the core out. It does have seeds in it like apples do. And then I chunked it up because I wanted to add it as a snack on top of Greek yogurt. So one trick is to cut the bottom off so that it can sit flat, and then cut the top small part off, and then use an apple corer and slicer to slice it just like you would apples. Now, if you're gonna pre-cut them, they do also turn brown like apples, so add a bit of lemon juice to keep that from happening, and you can store them in a sealed container in the fridge. Lastly, we take the roasted veggies out of the oven and let them cool. I put the leeks into a container to go in the fridge, and then I started on the butternut squash. I found that using a grapefruit spoon with a serrated edge makes scooping the seeds and flesh out really easy. But I also sometimes use an avocado slicer to scoop it out, and I'll link to both of these below the video. You can also use a paring knife, which is just a much smaller knife, to slice around the edges before scooping the flesh out. I put it all in a container and seal it to store in the fridge. Now, spaghetti squash can be a bit tricky. It definitely needs to be soft enough, but you can use a fork to scrape those spaghetti parts out into a container. Then store that in the fridge as well. And then lastly, I pulled the kale chips out. Then I season the kale chips with garlic and salt so that it doesn't get over salted before, because like I said, it shrinks. Then just scoop them into a container and enjoy them as a snack. Now, the meals that we put together with this freestyle meal prep session were pumpkin Alfredo on spaghetti squash with grilled chicken, leek and cauliflower soup, sauteed chicken, sausage, and cabbage, creamy collard green soup, which also had butternut squash in it, and then Greek yogurt with fresh pears for a snack. And as promised, grab the free Freestyle Meal Prep printable guide that is going to help you have all the instructions on how to do this so you can just have it there for your backup plan. It has ideas for meals and even flavor pairings for winter dishes. Click the link below the video in the description to grab that. Be true, be well, and I'll see you in the next video.